Yo guys, this is Cyber here and welcome back to a new video. Today we are going to be doing a discussion video. And I know I don't normally do discussion videos, but this one is going to be on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and if it will be worth modding, necessarily. Now I know a lot of people are probably going to say stuff like, yeah, it should be modded and all that stuff. A lot of people say that it shouldn't be. I'm on the side that it technically shouldn't be because of how much stuff we already have within Sparking Zero itself. So, what we're going to be getting at is, well, would it even be worth modding? And can it even be modded? So, the idea of this video came from fellow Xenoverse 2 modder, Xeno Coffee. And this is from the Sparking Zero could kill Xenoverse 2 video. And he brings up a lot of good points in there. You guys should watch the video. I suggest you guys do. But Xenoverse 2 has like a massive modding scene. In fact, that I'm pretty sure a lot of them would want to move to Sparking Zero, even without CACs and all that stuff. And a lot of people would probably try to find a way to make their OCs in Sparking Zero, but there's one issue with that, and that's one thing is the polys. The poly count, the models, and all that stuff. The way of how it works between Xenoverse 2 modding is very different because what you can see is, well, you guys can't see it on here because I'm not going to go into Blender for a demonstration as it would be a lot more editing on my end. But with Xenoverse 2, we have an easy way to work with models because of the tools we're given. Sparking Zero would take a while just to even get those tools for modding. And not just that, like, all those characters have unique animations, and one mess up on a body part can probably mess up the entire thing. Who knows, really? Like, it's kind of like with Dragon Ball FighterZ, because when you look at the actual models compared to how they look in the game, the models aren't that good. But then when they're actually animated and all that stuff, they look amazing. And I mean amazing. And that's kind of what Sparking Zero has, where you guys can see that there are issues with models, but once they're animated, they look straight out of the anime. Well, yeah, basically straight out of the anime, just not looking exactly like the anime. And it's like a little issue that would be huge, because how are people going to work with all those bones, trying to make custom bones at that, trying to make custom physics? Also, there's a factor of skills. Skills are, what it seems that skills are uniquely animated for the characters. And if those characters do not have the right animation, it might just like completely mess up of how it looks. I've experienced this issue when making Xenoverse 2 mods, and it is not something that is fun to deal with, if I'm being honest, because you had to like deal with resizing and all that stuff. You guys had to like make sure that it's not deformed or anything. It's a long process, and it would be a lot of things that would have to be changed up, especially that modding won't be just like Xenoverse, as we cannot add like custom characters. An entire tool would have to be made for that, and also, not to mention, the engine. The engine is fairly new and only has used games like Mortal Kombat 1 and Tekken 8, and other games of course too, but those are my prime examples. And those games are built with the Unreal Engine 5, and we've only seen people be able to just change the skins. Heck, with many games, you can't even add a custom character, so that's something that's kind of unique to Xenoverse 2 modding, as we can just add stuff to the game thanks to Eternity. And honestly, if we get something like that for Sparking Zero, there's going to be a lot of toxic people, because when it comes to Eternity in the patcher, a lot of people are very toxic about it, like, because like after an update drops, everyone's just probably gonna be asking for it, and you can't help but feel bad for the guy because he's doing that on his own. And like from what I remember, he doesn't even want to do Xenoverse modding anymore. He wanted to do Skyrim, I think, but this is like stuff that would probably be happening in the Sparking Zero modding community. And honestly, it's something that is bound to happen because like when there's a new update, there has to be changes to the game that like make new mechanics. How are people going to adapt that to a modding thing? How are people going to adapt it to a character? How are people going to adapt it to something with a completely unique model? That's the point I'm getting at. Sparking Zero modding would be very hard, and if anything, you would just be replacing files, like of how Xenoverse 1 was. Because we didn't have Eternity at that time. And when Xenoverse 2 came out, Eternity came around and made an entire patcher that would let us add to the actual game. And that's something that we probably wouldn't even get with Sparking Zero because of how hard it might be to mod Unreal Engine. Heck, if you guys look at Dragon Ball FighterZ, how long did it take for us to even get a completely custom character? And it's still overtaking a slot because the game is not, like, there's no tools built to add extra characters. People had to overhaul the game. People had to change the coding. That's the issue. Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear, but that's my new cat, Blaze. This is like something that's pretty big for modding as a whole, because if we even get support of modding like we do for Xenoverse 2, things would probably be insane, but then it would be hard to even just try to make mods alone. Because as I said, animations, skills, movesets, and then the models. The models are just hell. Because like we can see that there's so much detail on those models. You can't just like port your Xenoverse 2 CIC or something like that to Sparking Zero because that's not how it works. And people would have to like make a completely new model and everything. And then like there could be toxic people just like attacking you just because the mod isn't how they expected. And this is something that happens in the Xenoverse mod community. Like, I see this. And then, like, there's just a lot of issues. Now, I'm going to take some examples for things that probably could be done if people find a way to mod Sparking Zero, just not the way of how adding character slots and all that stuff. So, massive example is Xenoverse 2 Revamp. And probably my prime example because it's probably one of the only ones that are up to date. So with 5.0, we can see a bunch of characters around Kanton City that are manually added in. Heck, there's even a Toriyama statue custom made just in Revamp 5.0. It's probably one of the only things that can probably be coded into it, because like when you guys look at the character select or the mode select, whatever it is, we see characters all around. People would just be able to replace the characters, and like that would be a lot of coding. And not just that, if people find a way to add custom models in there, they had to manually add that in, like swapping out the code and everything. And then heck, this is like something that that is even hard in Xenoverse 2, but people have found a way. Because we've had this game for like years, and now we even have a tool for that, I'm pretty sure. But that's like one of the prime examples. Now let's get on to adding characters. Adding characters would be something that would be practically impossible, because we don't see characters get added into games, really. Like, unless if it's, like, probably, I don't know. I can't really think of any examples, because I don't see characters being added to games besides Xenoverse 2. With mods, of course. And that's something that is, like, meant to be something that can't happen. Because, not just that, we're on the Unreal Engine, and it's barely been able to be modded, but it's also the fact that people have to, like, work a lot of time just trying to get something looking good. And the other thing is movesets. Characters are probably going to be structured very specifically with their movesets. We don't know how the movesets look, we don't know how they will be, and unlike Xenoverse 2, we may not get a tool to make custom movesets. Heck, with every character having a specific moveset alone, imagine how hard it would be just for a modder to even make a custom moveset in general, because of how different combos can be. Because with stuff like Xenoverse 2, it's easily organized because, well, characters don't really change movesets, and we can easily just find character codes. We don't even know what the character codes will be in Sparking Zero. We don't even know how it's going to be structured. We don't know if it's going to be separated in a character folder, or just another folder that will be named something random, and people would have to find themselves. It's kind of a little thing that we had to, like, think about. Because how exactly are these models going to be made, like custom models going to be made, if, like, we don't know what the ID will be? We don't know if it's going to be like Xenoverse, and we don't know if it's going to be like Fighter Z. We don't know if it's going to be like Kakarot, which I haven't seen the Kakarot stuff, but, like, still. We don't know anything. And we just... The next thing is animations. Animations alone would be a struggle, because there are specific ones for specific characters to have, and we don't know if it will mess up another character's model. That was just a quick one, but still. It's the same thing with the movesets and transformations and literally everything that is part of Sparking Zero. We don't know anything about. We just know that it looks fun as hell, and we should just enjoy it. We shouldn't be worrying about mods, and this kind of just shows that people are going to be if, like, people make mods, they're going to be working hard for probably who knows what, for who knows how long. We don't know when we're going to get the DLC. We don't know if there's going to be some type of patcher. We don't know anything, because we have to wait for it to happen. We don't know how many polygons are on a specific model. Heck, I wonder exactly how many the smallest character in the game has. And it's probably going to be more than what we see on an entire Xenoverse 2 model. Like, well, not model, but an entire character. Because of how specific the models look in Sparking Zero. We don't know anything. And if people want mods, fine. Mods are cool to have in games. But is it worth it? We're getting so much content. We're gonna be getting DLC. Heck, characters that didn't even make it into the final roster that we have right now probably might be DLC. We might get a Super 17 DLC. We might get a Pycon DLC. We might get a Shin DLC. We don't know. You don't know anything. And we just have to see what happens. But anyway, that's going to be it for this discussion video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!
shadow turns to sun rays, and on